Martha here, Vintage Conversation. Welcome to my channel. And if you saw part 1 of this estate sale haul, welcome back. As promised, this is part 2. And I thought we had gotten through the linens on part 1, but I found something else that goes along with the linens that I wanted to show you. If you watched part 1, you may remember we talked about the custom of making armchair covers and headrest covers and stuff to preserve the furniture that people had paid so dearly for in those earlier times. You know, you had to work really hard for your money. You know, and during the Depression, there was no work, there was no money. So if you had something, you took care of it. Things were made of better quality. It wasn't disposable life like we have now. So anyway, this is an example of what I was talking about, and let me show you. This is an armchair cover. Oop, it's got a loose thread. See that? This would sit on the arm of your chair, and that's what you would rest your arm on, so that you didn't soil and wear the arm of the chair. So there are 2 of these. They have been starched. They have a flower basket pattern, well, a flower bouquet pattern on them. We've got some threads that are loose. Now, along with these, you remember I just spoke about it. You know, it would have been nice if I'd shown you the right size, which side, wouldn't it? There you go. Like I said, along with these. Now you think, now, what is that? That would go on the back of the chair, and that would be where your head would touch. Now, I have seen these used on buffets like this as well. I was taught that they went on chairs, couches, that sort of thing. Like I said, I've seen people lay them out like this, you know, this in the center, this on either side of it, and put, you know, buffet items like console with candlesticks, that sort of thing on them. That was not how I was taught that they were used. So when I saw them, my first thought was that they were an example of what we were talking about for protecting your furniture. And again, you'll see this one has some markings on it that will get washed but not treated. And you see this has a little tiny hole right here. See? It's very thin. It's pretty old. So all of these linens I'm going to hand wash, of course. I would not even consider putting them into a machine. But anyway, what I was getting to is, if you were taught differently on these little pieces, please let me know. I'd like to hear your thoughts on it and how they were used in your lifetime, or, you know, whether you use them or your parents use them or your grandparents use them. Like you may remember, I've said before, I had a grandfather who was born in the 1800s. I was a later life baby from my mom. My mom got married right after World War II. So I grew up watching a lot of different things than my peers. My peers always had younger parents than I did. So, and I found this wonderful bolt. It's like, well, it wasn't a bolt because it wasn't on a bolt, but it's like 6 yards of this beautiful red velvet. And it was actually folded up on a hanger in the lady's closet. So I don't know what her purpose with it had been or what her plan had been with it, but that's where it was. Now I found this. This is very old lace. And my husband's like, that's not very wide, is it? And I said, well, no, because there was 2 purposes for something like this. You would edge a dress in it, like the bottom of a dress. You put this around the bottom of a wedding dress. It's that pretty. Or me, I'm thinking valance. Yeah. Wouldn't this make lovely lace flounces in your kitchen? And 6 yards of this as well. Just sew that bad boy up like this, and you have lace flounces, vintage lace flounces for your kitchens. Farmhouse, country, 50s kitchen, mid-century, classic, you know. And it's so soft, it's not stiff. It hasn't really yellowed. It's not a pure white, it's a, you know, it's an off-white color, and I don't know how you're receiving it on your end, but it's almost creamy. It's almost creamy, and if you put it up against pure white, you would definitely call it creamy, but it's not yellowed. It's not yellowed. Then I found these 2 older books. Heisey, for Heisey glass. There was this one that had the had pictures in it, of course, descriptions so that you could identify patterns and stuff. Nothing in color, it's black and white, and then an old price trends for the Heisey. I hope I'm saying that right. I think I am. And another piece in the fabric was this lovely length of Asian print silk on maroon. Isn't that, look at that. Look how that color moves. I love silk with the bamboo and the cherry blossom. And then there's some characters. No, that's not the characters. Let me see. Here we go. There, the characters. So this is, I would feel the quality, the feel of it. This is going to be a upholstery fabric. I think it would make a lovely bench. You could also probably make a pretty wall hanging with it, but I'm thinking a very lovely bench out of that. But oh, look, silk, how it ravels. But even the ravels are pretty. But that's silk for you. So, and I found this. This is going to go on a quilt at some point. It's applique, and all of these flowers and leaves, the blades, have been individually cut out and applied to make this gorgeous, gorgeous applique flower arrangement. This screams, please put me on a quilt. And I shall. At some point, I shall. I have a lot of things screaming, put me on a quilt. A lot of fabric going, quilt me, quilt me. You know, not last summer. I don't think it was last summer. Could have been last summer. In fact, I think it was. I'm getting old. See how I do that? Fixate on which summer it was. Last summer we did some work for a gentleman and required us to travel to Arizona to help him move some things, and then we went from Arizona up to Maine. Really, really nice man. He's a dear man. But anyway, it was at that time that Walmart was a lot of the Walmarts were getting rid of their bolt fabrics, going to the pre-cuts. And so they were clearancing out their bolt fabrics, and my husband stopped at so many Walmarts. So well, I went in to see if they had any clearance fabric, and I had the back of my truck, just the back seat just stacked up with, you know, what they had on these bolts, because the prices were just, you know, you couldn't beat them. You couldn't beat them. These I'm going to pinpoint as 70s, 80s, because I remember making some similar to them in the 80s. You cut them out and you stuff them and you make Christmas tree ornaments out of them. So we've got a panel of these. And what you do is you find there's matching front and back. You just right sides together, sew around the edges, leave a little hole, stuff them, and then hand stitch the hole up. Sew on a little ribbon hanger of some sort, and you got Christmas ornaments. And they're Christmas ornaments that your kids or grandkids can touch. I first made them when my daughter was little. We used to take we'd take some fishing line, tie it to the 3/4 of the way up to the top of the tree, to the wall, and tie that to a screw in the wall. That way the kids couldn't knock the Christmas tree over. And I learned that early on with my youngest when he toppled it and broke my beautiful tree topper. That I can't even tell you what it looks like, but I was devastated then. Now it doesn't matter. Keep that in mind, young moms. When you get older, it doesn't matter. It just doesn't matter. So anyway, one year I made soft ornaments like this because my kids were allowed to touch the tree ornaments. If I had something special that I didn't want touched, it always went way up to the top. Couldn't knock the tree over. They couldn't get to it. They couldn't break it. But down closer to the bottom, softer things, you know, things that they could touch. One year I took McDonald's, the little prizes, the little toys. My kids had a bunch of those in their boxes, toy boxes. So I went through and picked those up, cleaned them up real good, and attached ribbon to them. And the whole tree was McDonald's snack, lunch, there you go. Their little lunch treats, the little toys that came with the kids' meals. And they thought it was great. So we used to try to theme the tree sometimes. That was fun. Let's see. Here is a plain white cotton scalloped tablecloth. And if you remember, I showed you that really old net one with the sequins and the felt that, you know, had damaged on it from something being spilled on it. Something like this could be put over the top of that and used as your main tablecloth and allow all that prettiness around the edge to shine through. And if you are not sure of what I'm talking about, then you need to go back to part 1 of this haul and check that out, because that's probably going to be one of the prettiest tablecloth pieces you're ever going to see. There were a lot of these panels, and there were a lot of vest patterns, which vests were so big in the 80s and 90s, so I know that's when they're from. This is for a teddy bear. Once again, it's a front and a back, right sides together, sew them up, stitch along the edges, leave a small opening to stuffing with, then close them up, and you've got a Christmas bear. You've also got all these extra ones along here that you can put together for the same thing, to make Christmas ornaments. So this is a nice panel. Not hard sewing. In fact, if you happen to buy these from me and you need any tips or instruction on them, you're more than welcome to contact me, because it's just that easy. If you've got a sewing machine and you know how to work the sewing machine, you can make these. It's not a problem, and I don't mind helping you. Some more upholstery material. This is that heavy, thick weave. Again, this, I've got a vintage 70s leather footstool, but it's not leather, it's the fake leather, it's the pleather vinyl that has gotten old and started to crack. So I keep saying, I want to recover it, but I never go out looking for the material, and I think the material finally found me, but who knows. And once again, this is going to be some easy work for you. These are applique pieces. Now, what you do with these, you cut them out. Say you want to, decorate a bag, or a Christmas stocking, or a sweatshirt. An apron, a pillow. There's even one here somewhere that shows you for a, where is it? Right here. For a little small tablecloth. See, a round table. You take these and you cut them out, and you go to the fabric store and you get some fusible, we used to call it webbing, but it looks like it comes in pieces like this, but it's white and it's fusible. One side is kind of shiny, one side is dull. That sticky side is your glue. And you just lay this down on it, and it adheres. You put it on whatever you want. You put that in between it, and it will stick this applique down on your project. And they're gorgeous, and they're easy. And once again, if you need help, I'll help you. But these have instructions right here on them that tells you how to do it as well. So if you don't want to ask anybody, between that and the applique adhesive material that you're going to use, and I know that's not the name. I know the name. I've used it so many times. And if I think of it, I'll display it. But then again, I probably won't, because I won't remember that either. That's what happens when you start getting old. You get too much information. Something's got to get dumped. Okay? Let's see. Oh, pardon me. I had to go so far. It's way down in this tub. Another little thing of material for quilting. And with these little things right here, these little school buses and houses and trees, you can do the same thing. You can make appliques out of them. You don't have to buy a piece that says appliques. This is really cute, and I've got to get this up for Halloween, but I wanted to show it to you guys first. It's for, wait for it, an apron. Look at that. Look at that witch. Look at that. That's Broomzilda. It says punch it, Broomzilda. But it's all the pieces you need. Is this the apron or is this the vest? Oh, excuse my mistake. This is the vest. I have an apron coming up, you'll see. This is a vest. See this? See this snazzy young woman wearing her vest? And that handy little purse that she's got there? I use a purse like that when I go thrifting. Comes with instructions. everything you need to throw this vest together as is, unless you want it lined. It's right here on this panel. This is the perfect mom costume. It's vintage. It's easy. So, and this is another vest. This one is a Christmas vest. See the picture there? Same snazzy lady. She likes to wear lots of vests. It's got all you need on the panels. See? And yeah, I mean, what else could you want? Don't do a ugly sweater contest this year. Be original. Challenge your friends. Do an ugly vest contest. See who wins. Why should we do sweaters every year? Now this is the apron. See that? This is the apron. Now this little one right here says it's for your doll. So you can make one for your doll. But the rest of it makes the Christmas apron. See, and now you see all these little characters on here, the snowmen of different sorts. Now do you see they're replicated right here? Do you see this? Now you have a choice. You can make it just like this, or you cut out these little characters, sew them on top of their coordinating character, their matching character on the apron, put a little stuffing in them, and it makes your apron 3D. But it's got everything you need. It's got the ties. It's already edged. See, baby, it's cold outside. But I think they're very sweet. And when I was a young mother back in the 80s, you know, they were starting to come out with these, but I couldn't afford them. I'd like to have afforded them, but I couldn't. So we have a second one of those Christmas aprons that we just looked at, still wrapped up. And let's see, what did they pay for it? I don't know when they bought it, but looks like they paid about $3 for the thing back then. You can't get it for that now. Oh, and I found, look at this way, a little kitty Christmas pillowcase cover that she was making. It's actually for a stuffed pillow, and I'll show you why in just a minute. In the back, it's this pretty green and red plaid, and it's got these two sweet kitties on it with their beautiful green eyes. Now, I say it was for stuffing because she sewed it everywhere except for the little hole for stuffing. So now what do you do if you want this? It's easy. You go to the craft shop, the quilting shop, Hobby Lobby, into the fabric department. You get a bag of stuffing. You're going to stuff the pillow in here to the consistency that you like. Okay? Then you see this edge, it's already been ironed and held together. Put it back like this. Maybe put a straight pin in it. Hand stitch it up with little tiny stitches. And then you can say that you made the pillow. You don't have to tell them at what point you started it. They'll say, "Did you really sew that?" And you'll say, "Of course I did." Because you did. Doesn't matter. You sewed it. So, kitty lovers, would be crafters, quilters, sewers, sewist. There you go.